Welcome back, folks, to Let's Replay Stonekeep, and when last we left off, we're still exploring the entrance to the temple, and we need to get into the temple. Unfortunately, that involves getting past this area, that is laden with traps that will be sure to kill us if we're not careful. We're going to have to find the solution to that puzzle somewhere in this area. We've actually already encountered that solution, and we're going to go back and check it. You have to look carefully at the clues given to you, otherwise you may miss it. That said, it's a very obvious clue. But first, we're going to go in here, and grab this singular item that is in this small room.
Now that is disgusting stuff. I would not be so quick to quaff that.
Can it really be that bad?
Yes, once we reach our clan hall, I will be able to introduce you to a nice dwarven stout brew.
Right. Well, enough of that then. But I think I'll be keeping this just in case.
You never know, it might be useful. And what is that? That, if we check our item list, is a throg holding a boulder vial. It reeks. There's something in there that really doesn't smell that good. We're not going to be drinking it. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to be checking out this pile of muck and picking up everything that we find. And if we attack this here, and if we attack this one here, and that one there, what can happen is that you can have the poison status inflicted upon you by rummaging around in this dirt. We were lucky and it didn't happen, but it can happen. It's not really important that it does happen here, because what's over here but a mana circle. And with this mana circle, we can heal all of the damage that we have sustained so far on this floor. And we can use this circle to quite safely clear the next area. But first, we'll have to get to that area. And to get to that area, we're going to have to go through that trap. But we do know how to do that. We just need to go back to where that dwarf's body is and consult one of the scrolls. There was one scroll with quite a lot of information, and that information is going to be very useful. One thing also to note is that you can use page up and page down to very quickly scroll through your entire inventory. I didn't know that, and being informed of that is a great thing indeed, because now I can very quickly get to the bottom of the inventory all the way from the top. Let's go, shall we, and head back to that area with the trap. There is one more thing we need to look at before we go there, and that is to go all the way down to the end of this corridor. I didn't go all the way down, you never know, there might be a secret. There was no secret, but it does fill in the map. Always good to fill in the map. Let's check where we are. We just need to go a little bit further forward, and then all the way down this northern corridor. We're going to ignore the turning off just for the moment. There are two scrolls, and I believe it is the right scroll that we want to read. You can skip the dialogue when Drake reads the scroll by pressing the spacebar. Do you see that code at the bottom of this parchment? RFLL FRRLL. That is telling us how to get through the puzzle ahead, and we're going to hold on to this scroll for a tiny bit, just long enough that we can get through that, because we're going to be marking on the map when we get to a point in this puzzle where we're not going to be in any bother. Because if we just stumble around in here, we will get hit by a lot of arrows. And you may think, well, that's not a bad thing at all, because you can collect those arrows and then throw those arrows at enemies. And with the mana circle over here, which I'm going to mark on the map, you could brute force this puzzle. And it's true, you can brute force the puzzle. But I'm going to show you what happens when you don't brute force the puzzle. We're going to step forward, and we haven't been hit yet. If we were, for instance, to move over to the left, loads of arrows would hit us. So what we're going to do is we're going to move all the way over to the right and mark that on the map. It's always a good idea to mark on the map where you need to go. We'll eventually be exploring this entire area, but for now I just want to show off the correct route. Here we go. We now go here, marking it on the map just to be sure. Here we go. And we want to go here and then here, and then we want to stop. We don't want to keep moving left. That would be a bad idea. And so we mark that we're going to go here, and carry on by moving forward one more corridor. We are now here. Oh, that's not right. We don't want to mark there. We want to mark where we are. Very important that we mark the correct location. Now to here, indeed. We will then go here and head towards the west. Once we've marked on the map that we need to go there, and then we're pretty much there. And we can backtrack when we need to. And that's it indeed. For we have now very slowly gone through that puzzle, and we haven't got hit even once. That is something that I don't think I've ever done before, because I've never read that solution correctly, and so we can drop this, because I've now mapped it out on our map, and we don't need to consult that anymore. What we do need to do is we need to go into here. Now, we can't read this, but fortunately, Farley knows exactly what we found.
I think it is a guard rope.
He doesn't need to read it, he just needs to smell what's beyond the door, because this place is bad. We're going to be grabbing everything, however, because there is something that we actually want in here. We don't want any of this, but we do want that. Hidden amongst all of that was one really good root. Just going to, there we go. The poison status is now upon us, and we're going to take a tiny bit of damage. It's not really going to be a lot of damage, though. It is worth having a look, just in case there's something good. I don't think there's anything else good, though. We'll just grab this, have a look at the walls, and move on. This way. Maybe there'll be an enemy for us to fight. There haven't been any enemies for us to fight apart from that one foe that we met in that small room. Anything here? There is one selection of enemies there. Do you see those dots? Those dots are, there are quite a few of them. Maybe we should go and say hello. Perhaps it will go well for us. I don't think it's going to go very well for us. Ah! It's giant ants! We haven't seen these enemies for ages. Hello! Have an arrow! Would you like another arrow? You would! Excellent. Any other enemies here? There's one more, I believe. In the distance. Hello! Goodbye. That is just to show how powerful we now are. Was there anything down here that was worth exploring? Well, there's one way to find out, and that is to look at the walls, and I don't think there is. Always worth checking, though, just in case. Nothing there, and nothing there. If only there was some kind of spell that would reveal where all the hidden switches were. But there is no such spell as far as I know. And there is nothing there at all. And I don't think the Orb of Afri will reveal any secret passageways or anything like that. That said, Farley hasn't been that talkative about them right now. Maybe we haven't found any more. But there is nothing down there. There's a small area ahead, though, that we can have a look at, and why don't we have a look at that? And by ahead, I mean back here, turning this way, and then going ahead. Anything awesome in here? The answer is no. It would seem that this area really isn't frequented that much.
That is my brother's helm.
That is not a good thing to find, then. But we can give that to Karzak. It's a good fit. But at least Domba was likely alive at this point. We're going to have to find Domba very quickly. The only way we can go now is that way. So we will go that way. And I think this leads to a new area completely. Definitely leads to over here, which is going to head to the south, and we definitely need to check. Yep, there is a long corridor. There is an enemy in there. There's also this way, which has a small location up to the north that has nothing in it. So, what foe is in here? Ah, here are a pair of throgs. Throgs are a far more dangerous foe than Mashagas. They hit harder, have more health, and are just as fast. They don't have any ranged weapons though. We could go this way, which leads to the temple if memory serves. Let's just double check. Yes, it does. That leads to the temple. We're not going to the temple just yet. We want to explore around here a little bit more. We also want to get all of the arrows that are in that trap. Why not, eh? Might as well stock up on arrows because we definitely need to. We need to fight these enemies first. Maybe there's dialogue if we go over to say hello. If there is dialogue, it's not going to be friendly dialogue. Hello. They're not saying anything right now. One of them can definitely see us. And yet nothing has happened. Let's walk up, shall we? Ah, now they've seen us. And they are going to try stop us from leaving. And as you can see, they hit really hard. They also have shields, which makes it a little bit harder to hit them with the arrows. Fortunately, they only put their shields in one location. So if you keep hitting them in the leg, eventually they will die. You're going to see now how many arrows it's going to take to kill one throg. It's going to take a lot of them, but that's okay. They can't go through the door, and we're not going to go through the door. Eventually, this foe will perish, and you can see now what the next floor is going to be like. There are some really, really tough enemies there. And we gained a skill. What did we gain? We gained agility and health. That is always good to see. Let's keep going, shall we? With attacking with this arrow. Just one arrow. You know, you really should grab the arrow after we have, thrown it at you, and then we couldn't throw it at you anymore. Maybe I need to aim over here. There we go. You need to be very particular with where you're aiming the arrow. Look at how much health they have, though. It is just a roadblock of health and really, really high damage. You'd think that the swords are good. I don't actually think they're that decent. The shields are most certainly not decent. Look at how much damage this one throg takes. And also, how particular the hit detection is on the arrows. At least they're actually using their shields properly, just trying to deflect all of this damage. Maybe they take less damage from ranged projectiles, but they certainly do die to ranged projectiles. Eventually. In your own time, Mr. Throg, because I don't want to go in there and attack both of you. That's a terrible idea. They only travel in groups of 2, which is reassuring. At least I think they only travel in groups of 2. Eventually you will perish. I could just use fireballs on you. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to use fireballs on you. Stay there. Let's just get this ready, and we'll see how good magic is against you, shall we? That's pretty good. One of them is dead. And this will hit the other one as well. And yes, fire is pretty good against the throgs. Just thought I'd check, but fire is very powerful, and we have now got these weapons. We're not going to use them. Here is a shield as well, and another shield. We're not going to use them either. We might go and have a look in here, though, and see what's there. One healing root, a second healing root, and that. That is not a tasty-looking piece of meat. That piece of meat looks like it's gone bad. That's because it has gone bad. So, just a note, the arrows are not very good against the throgs, but fire is really effective against the throgs. What we want to do before we leave is we want to grab all of these arrows, and to do that we're going to have to go back to the healing circle and get to full health, and get back to the other side of this, because we don't want to be caught on this side and find ourselves in a low health situation. It will get us killed. Look at this puzzle solving! Without dying! This is a rarity for me. There we go. And we've got to the other side. Let's do some healing, shall we? We did use quite a lot of the mana in that runecaster by using all those fireball spells. but it's still got quite a lot of oomph in it. We'll just check how much oomph. It still has 30 mana. That's a lot of oomph. We'll just heal up here. Don't use Fireball, Drake. That really won't heal the party at all. We now have a max of 140 health. Pretty impressive if I do say so myself. Alright, we'll just go to the top of the inventory because that's where the sword is. I don't actually know why I have the sword equipped right now, or want it equipped, because we're going to be going the wrong way and getting hit by arrows. Sometimes you won't get hit by arrows. And I accidentally right-click there, and that arrow has disappeared forever into that quiver, at least until we get a bow. It will happen eventually, we just haven't found that point yet. One of the arrows flew all the way over... No, it didn't actually. It didn't fly all the way over there. I thought it had. So what we're going to do is we're going to get hit by more arrows by standing here. That's okay, we need more arrows. We now have 46 arrows, and there are no more arrows to be fired at us from here. That's okay, we're going to heal up, and then we're going to keep exploring. You'll note that all the arrows hit the main character there. It's like they know that they need to kill Drake to end our game. Step forward once, and those arrows completely missed us. Flew right over our heads. Maybe Drake's finally learned how to duck the arrows. Not going to... Ooh, I was about to say it's not going to happen this time, but it did. Well done, Drake. You didn't die horribly there. We'll just grab that arrow and move forward again. And we avoided that one as well. Has Drake become a dodging master? I highly doubt it. I think we're just being lucky. No more arrows there. And we got hit by arrows there. And we got hit by an arrow there too. But as you can see, there are a lot of arrows for us to pick up. A lot of them indeed. It really doesn't take that long to accumulate a massive pile of ammunition for the bow that we do not yet have. Give it time, we may get a bow. I'm pretty sure we do get a bow, but we have not yet located that bow. Let's go back over here, get hit by more arrows, and that is quite a lot of damage. We're now to 45 health. Can we, not with this one. Maybe with the other one we can do a tiny bit more healing, and then we'll have to go back to the mana circle. Always a good idea to get some training with our magic anyway. There we go. We can do a little bit more looking around here now. We also want to grab the arrows that were fired at us. This arrow here, this arrow here, and this arrow here. This is something I did when I first went through this game, just grabbing every single arrow that I could. And I think that was the arrow that was firing from behind us that hit us, rather than the arrow that was flying towards us. Otherwise, Drake reacted to damage before he actually got hit. And we only got hit a tiny bit there, that's okay. None of the arrows went there. One arrow went here, and another arrow went there, and one arrow went way over there. We really want to explore every single square, because eventually we will get arrows from all of them. Let's go over here, shall we? There are lots of arrows here. They've all been firing over from the other side. We want to back up and grab that, and there'll be one small pile of arrows behind us as well. Just one. That's fine, though. Do we dare step forward one more space? We do. That was possibly a mistake, because my, do we have absolutely no health anymore. Let's get out of here and try our best not to perish by following the handy guide that I have here. There we go. This way, that way, this way, and before you know it, we were safe once more. And we got another arrow for our troubles. We now have, we now have 76 arrows that we can throw. You'd think that that's a lot of arrows, and it is. But when you saw how little damage the throg took from the arrows, we're going to need to use something other than arrows. We could use magic all the time, but that will require us to go back to this mana circle a lot. We could even fight the enemies in melee combat. That's genuinely not a good idea. These enemies are tricky and dangerous. But they're only the enemies in the early to midpoint of the game. There are going to be even worse enemies than the throgs, that's for sure. Alright, here we are. Now we can heal up, and only Drake needs to heal up, because apparently no other damage was sustained by anyone. You can already see the limitations of this runecaster, because it doesn't heal us to full. It gets pretty close, and we were pretty low on health, but it didn't heal us to full. Let's now go back to where we were and continue to collect even more arrows. We need even more ammunition for our efforts to save Dumba. We're going to need a lot of arrows. We could even start using the bow at some point, and then the quiver would actually be useful. The problem, of course, with the bow is that you can only fire at the rate the bow will fire, and that's not very fast. Alright, we'll just have a look at where we've previously been, and then check out where we haven't been. We haven't gone there or there. We've actually been to most of the squares now. Let's go this way and head in the wrong direction and get hit by some arrows, shall we? There we go! Much better. And by much better, I mean that really wasn't better. One arrow there. And then we'll... Ooh, one arrow there too. Can't forget that arrow. Let's move forward again, and there is nothing here that's going to fire at us. But what about here? Ah, looks like Farley got hit there. And stepping this way was a bit of a mistake, because we got hit again. Fortunately, there aren't that many more things that are going to fire at us there. It doesn't take that long once you get the outer area of this trap cleared of arrows that are going to fire at you, for you to finish exploring everywhere. Nothing is going to fire at us here. That is good to know. What about here? Anything here? No. Have we finally expended every single arrow that this trap has? Let's have a look. No. There's another arrow or 2 or 5. We'll just grab all of these. We have nearly 100 arrows. Still not enough, mind you, to take care of all of the enemies we're going to face, but it's still a lot. There we go. We have lots of health again. And we want to go and clear this area over here of arrows. There we go. We got hit by one of them. That's not so bad. Stepping forward here. Nothing's going to hit us here. That's fine, because we're actually in one of the squares where we're safe, as opposed to here, where we're not safe. But that's okay, we only got hit by one arrow anyway. The other one went all the way over there. And we got hit here too. Hello, arrow, how are you? Are you well? Well, you just hit us, so I suppose you've served your purpose as a deterrent. Anything else? We have a few areas left to look around, but really not that many. So we want to head over here, and then over here, and head down. Arrow? One arrow hit us. Not really surprising, only one of them hitting us. We then want to go forward to this square, and I think we've pretty much solved everything. There we go. No more arrows are likely to fire at us anymore, because we have expended every single arrow that this trap has. It's a good thing to do, just to get more arrows for your eventual bow, and also to prove that you can get through this area even if you don't figure out the solution to the puzzle. It does take a lot longer. The game is generous enough to give you the mana circle on the side before you encounter the trap, but it does take longer. It is worth it though. The arrows are a really useful resource. And I'm just double checking to see if there are any arrows that I've missed, and it doesn't look like I have. So we're going to head back to the mana circle, do some healing, and then we're going to head over to the temple itself, because we can't explore the rest of this area. Not here. The dots are now quite pointless, because we don't need to worry about the trap. If only that dwarf that perished was able to use magic, then there'd be no problem. But unfortunately for the dwarf, that dwarf couldn't, and thus he died. Let's go over here and very quickly recuperate all of our health that we've lost. Here we go. In here. And we will be good as new in no time. Just use that magical power, Drake, and make sure that your health is visible, so that we can see just how much we need to heal. That won't heal us to full, but we're nearly there anyway. There we go! Full health once again. And you can also heal other targets as well. I forgot that you could do that if you just click there. But we don't want to heal anybody else right now. We will equip our sword, though, and make our way over to the entrance of the temple, because we need to go and rescue Domba. We also need to get some equipment for Domba. All of this, of course, is presuming that we even get to rescue Domba, because Domba may very well be dead by this point. It's certainly not looking good, considering the fact that his helmet was found by us, but you never know. We may manage to save him at just the right time, and then we'll have 3 dwarfs in our party. That's a lot of dwarfs. We want to head over here, and just down here are the stairs leading up. We're heading up so that we can go down. But that will be for next time. But when we come back, folks, we will go into the temple. I'm sure nothing terrible will happen when we go there. Many terrible things may happen. So I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.